Hi. All right. This is Office Politics Champions. And I want to speak to you this morning to share something. And this is something in respect of which, I posted a poll recently. And that poll maybe it wasn't too surprising. The result wasn't too surprising. So I want to speak about, the concept of work as it relates to office politics. The concept of work as it relates to office politics. How important is your work? Should you rely on your work? All right. Um, does your work speak? Should you let your work speak? All right. So I'm speaking on the subject work that matters in office politics. Work that matters in office politics. All right, Olatunji Shobodu is my name. I'm the anchor of the Office Politics Champion WhatsApp group. And, if you want to join, you find the link or you scan the QR code that's on the screen. And so I posted a statement on the platform and said, the quote was by a very senior person, Carla Harris is her name. And she said, "You can't let your work speak for you. Work doesn't speak. You can't let your work speak for you because work doesn't speak." And interestingly, that poll, well, as of today, had just a little more, 7 people agreed and 6 people disagreed, which I found quite interesting. In fact, until I voted, I think there was a tie. Now, based on my experience, I'm not surprised. If I look at some of those that voted actually in agreement, I understand why they also voted in agreement. But they probably would have voted against if it were some time ago. All right. But, I'll keep that to my chest. Now, that simply reflects the mistake that many people make. All right. And it hampers their career. They rely on their work to speak. And I want to say, first of all, that I agree with the statement that Kamala Harris made. I agree in total. All right. And that is the reality of the office environment. That is the reality of office politics. Your work does not speak. Don't rely on your work to speak for you. Too many people have learned the hard way that work does not speak. All right. It is people that speak about your work. All right. That's how you get your work to speak. Work by itself does not speak. The reason is not far fetched. All right. The reason is not far fetched. And let me quickly dispel something here so that I provide some clarification. Some people, provided some arguments to buttress their point that work speaks, but, they were not quite mindful of the context in which the statement was made. The essence of the group is office politics. All right. So we are not talking about one small business where, there are just a handful of you working there. We can count you. There is no hierarchy. You are not aspiring to anything. All right. We're talking about a corporate environment. We're talking about relatively sizable, organizations where there is hierarchy, where it takes time to climb the ladder, where many people are jostling, all right, just like you for that higher position. That's what we are talking about. And that's the environment where you really have the phenomenon called office politics play out. Okay, so a number of those who expressed their disagreement, insisting that work speaks, I got a sense that they were talking about a small environment, where everybody knows everybody, and you can be a superstar, and you are not going anywhere. There is nothing really at stake. But in the corporate environment, those who are in such an environment where there are many people, maybe hundreds, maybe tens, maybe even thousands, all right, and everybody's looking to climb the ladder, and everybody's working, in quotes, like you, your work, all right, can be relied upon to speak. One of the reasons is that you are not the only one doing great work in that kind of environment. You are not the only one. There are many of you who are doing great work if the chips are down. You are not the only one meeting your targets. There are many people meeting your targets. In fact, when the chips are down, there are people who surpass you in terms of their performance. So yes, okay, your work is speaking, but some people's work is also speaking as well. All right. So in relation to others, how well will your work speak? How well will your work speak? All right. And there are people, who, so be against that background, all right, how are you going to project yourself? Don't forget that office politics is a game of power and influence. All right. If your work is speaking, really, is it securing power and influence for you? Because if it is not, your work is not speaking. You can be great at what you do. You can be well regarded in the institution for the quality of the contribution you make. But guess what? When the chips are down, you don't have a voice. You lack power. You lack influence. It reflects in the benefits that come to you. It reflects when the chips are down and promotions need to be made. Who is speaking on your behalf? Are you favored? And many times people come to discover that they are doing so much work, but there is nothing to show for it in terms of benefits. And it's not because management is biased. It's not because somebody hates you. It's because your work is not speaking. It's because your work is not speaking. Now, the interesting thing I want to share with you against that background, as you would see, in the caption, the work that speaks, that matters in office politics. So your own concept of work, which is just to get your job done and to do it as excellently as you can, does not speak and is not a major source of leverage. And I wouldn't advise you to rely on that. There is work that speaks, that matters, and it goes beyond just what you do. It goes beyond just what you do. All right. That's why a number of people feel that I've done so well, I've met my targets, I've exceeded them, but they don't get promoted. And somebody who probably didn't do as well gets promoted. And they feel that is partiality, that is inappropriate. Well, it may not be inappropriate. Why? Because there are other things that are considered by management. The level you are going to is a higher level. It's not just about your technical skills that management is looking for. It's also about other skills. So what about your ability to interact with others? What about how much you get along with others? What about, the extent to which you volunteer, all right, to help others, to be part of another team, to share with others, to even volunteer your time? What about the quality of your leadership or the leadership traits that you exhibit? All right. So the kind of work that speaks is the one that earns you power and influence. And that's the one that is more robust in definition. That's the one that goes beyond your target and recognizes that there are other contributions expected of you. There are other, behaviors expected of you. There are things that we want to see that goes beyond just the fact that your numbers are falling into place. That's the kind of work that you want to rely on to help you in the game of politics, office politics. That's why some of those other people who may not have numbers as sterling as yours are favored by management. Because, for example, management will favor anyone who demonstrates quality leadership skills when it comes to higher level appointments than someone who is just focused on delivering the numbers or just getting the job done. Because at the higher level, it's no longer about you. It's about more people. It's about the people you lead. It's about your ability to develop other people. And so you see, it's not about favoritism. It's not how you define work. It's a more robust concept of work that when the chips are down and you are sincere to yourself, you actually discover that you are significantly deficient in other areas. So that statement is true, that your work does not speak and you should not rely on it. But the more robust concept of work that involves you interacting with others, showcasing that you have more than just your skills, all right, showcasing that you bring greater value to the table beyond just your immediate responsibility. The one that earns you influence, that projects you beyond your immediate confines, your immediate department or unit. That's the one that speaks. That's the one that you must focus on. If you want to focus on your work, if you want to use work as leverage, it is not the work as you define it. It is the work in the more robust context that earns power and influence that you can rely on. That's the work that speaks. I hope that's helpful, and we can continue the discussion on the platform. And of course, until I bring you another word, still on office politics. My name is Olatunji Shobodu, and enjoy the rest of your week. God bless you. Bye-bye.